individuals that the machine could displace them, because we do know how to apply principles of biology, which we can take the cosmic energies and put them on the ends of levels. I mean, people do not have to be machines.
Right.
They've actually been the machinery.
Yes.
They've been this muscle machine. And evolution is trying to graduate now from that. But he's not going to be allowed to eat. There's not enough around there where you have to prove yourself in a step. You have to know the life to live. Now, I simply say, ministry of that nonsense. We simply say, I now find there is nothing going on. Of course, there's the question, I was when a child is born, you don't say how you're going to live it. And we used to say, you just take now you go to work in the mines. You know, go on to school. We're down to things a little longer all the time. And we're going to then, within the same 12 years from now, let's say, you're automatically, you're in Lulu, and you can live very, that's exactly everything you need, go anywhere you want. It's adequate to do it. Therefore, we're going to give up all the nonsense of your earning living and really let the automation get going. But that's what nature's trying to do.
Yeah.
We're blocking it in the same way that the professor on tenure is so afraid of losing his job. When we really need to get the information to people, so he could really try to monopolize the information. Finally say, you got to allow that to take you to the course of that. It is possible to enormous complexity problems. The problem is that we can't put the most money time and gravity and there and so forth for the only way to get in trouble and spend it on the wall. We can count on anything else and put everybody really down the way. And not be able to.
modified classical capitalist system, or a Marxian system, which much of the present world relates to in terms of a political or economic ideology. Both of those systems assume that the principal component of the productive process is labor, and there is no mechanism built in for relating the owners of, relating the general citizenry as owners of the technological instrumentalities themselves. There is one system that I have become aware of. I'm wondering if you have. It's a system of Louis Kelso, who has proposed a proposal for relating directly the citizenry of the nation as owners of the means of production, so that they have a means of gaining income other than a wage system or other than a government bureaucracy creating tax projection of a tax system of gaining income in order to pay it out, which tends to reinforce the old governmental structure. It relates. I'm wondering if
we had to reform the old accounting system. That's what I think would happen.
Okay.
I think we're going to discover that nobody owns anything,
except perhaps their own
I don't know
identity.
those stars. They're very beautiful.
You own your own,
I don't know
your own identity.
We don't really own anything.
Anything
that
at
we
all.
are really part of a very extraordinary regenerative system, and I think it's really that kind of truth that's going to manifest.
There would probably be a period at the period of transition where there would be a certain kind of way in which we could talk to the system or the people responsible for the old accounting systems, or the space in which they perceive of their activity, in manners that they are going to be able to understand. And I don't know, I have just found that interesting myself. It seems to me to make a certain sense that if we're not going to be able to distribute our productive capability in the old way, it is incumbent upon us who are interested in changing that to have an alternate system that can be presented to those that are responsible for that old way, again keeping in mind that they will be able to go along with it. And it seems to me that this system does make some sense in that regard, in that period of transition. But I don't know.
I would think Kelso is a brilliant man.
Yeah, well,
and I think all these things
poet.
are part of this educational process we're going through. And nature has gestation rates, and you can't make human babies in less than that 9 months or whatever it may be.
That's right.
And she has a rate at which the biggest take the longest. To make man a success on our planet and get on a new, cross a new threshold, a new functioning universe is a very big undertaking. So that there's going to be a lot of the kind of talk you and I are having here, and there is all around the world. But I see, mostly we went through a period of great dismay, realizing the older things were not working. But now there's much more earnest inquiry about how do you make it work. And personally, I'm absolutely, I think everybody has validity, but my own commitment is then to resolving problem solutions into what are called artifacts. Where the artifact speaks for itself rather than, as for instance, let's have a man who's left his family over here to get some food over here. While he's away, there's a great flash flood between himself and his family, coming from a great mountain lake up above him, and so there's roaring torrent, and he can't get back to his family. And nature then washes a big pinnacle rock loose, and it falls across the chasm. He will use that bridge and not try to swim across the bottom. Same way I said, if I build a bridge, the bridge speaks for itself, and I don't have to have any words to explain the bridge. In other words, my whole commitment is to artifacts that tell man that this is a logical way to carry on, and we'll get on better.
I can understand that very clearly. It's beautiful. You were speaking before of the. I wonder if we might even be able to speak about the context within we're operating now. We're taping a television program that's to be carried by a cable television system in New York City. And that cable television system is, or the cable television system that is a national entity, is a television system which is about to be linked. There are islands of cable vision capability around the country. Perhaps 10% of the nation now is able to receive cable, and cable is able to carry an unlimited, virtually unlimited carrying capacity as opposed to the bandwidth limitations of broadcast television. Speaking now in terms of the means by which general citizenry can begin to participate in the consciousness-raising educative process, that the cablevision systems are about to be united through satellite technology into a communication system, which one other component of which is the magnetic bubble memory storage system that the IBM Computer Corporation has just developed, is beginning to develop a communication system that is one that could be, as I see the system of Lewis Kelso, an economic system relating to a communication system that is truly one of abundance, as opposed to the strictly the limitations of the broadcast system that we had inherited, which was a system of scarcity. And I wonder if you might comment on your idea, or whether or not the production of videotape documentaries where good information is structured could be put out over that system as a means of a broad-based general participation.
We know we can technically, and in doing so, here we are. But up to now, a broadcasting system is actually sending out to people, and there's no way they can reply.
Well, in the cable, if I may, the cable has a two-way capacity. They can come back and forth.
That's the big difference. Is the cable, you can go back.
Yes, they can.
In other words, there's actually, it's a discrete hookup. Therefore, you can speak right back.
That's right.
Now, we had, as for instance, the United States Revolution occurred, and we have our first representation. The representatives from the 13 states had to go by horse or foot back to their state, and they saw a lot of people along the way, talked to them in all the villages and towns. They were able to bring back to their own constituents the single problem.
If I were to ask my wife, darling, do you really love me? And she says, I'm trying my best to do so. That's not the answer I want. I want her to say, I can't help loving you. I love you so much I could eat you. And that's what the plant feels in growing. It doesn't feel that it must grow. It's not under orders. It's not a military chain of command. It does this spontaneously. So that when you try to command the spontaneous process, you stop it. It's like saying to someone, now, be unself-conscious. You know, there's a belief in India that if you think of a monkey while you're taking medicine, the medicine won't work. So therefore, when you take your vitamins or next pills, try not to think of a monkey. See? That will completely tie up the spontaneous process, and it won't work. So all the things that we say to our children, like, well, you must have a bowel movement every day after breakfast. Try, darling, to go to sleep. Stop pouting. Take that look off your face. Oh, you're blushing. Make you feel guilty about blushing. See? All those things are attempts to say this one thing. Darling, little child, you are required to do what will be acceptable only if you do it voluntarily. And everybody on this account is completely mixed up. Because we are trying to cross genuine behavior. We all admire artists. When we say they're unself-conscious, they seem so natural. They seem to dance, or paint, or talk, or play the piano so effortlessly. Of course, a lot of work is done into it. But if you are a great artist, your so-called periods of practice, when you sit for hours and study your technique on the piano, you will not do that effectively unless it is a pleasure for you. You have to come to the point where going over it again and again is a dance. One of my friends is a great Hindu musician who has the most extraordinary technique in playing an instrument called the sarod. It's like an extremely sophisticated Hindu guitar. His name is Ali Akbar Khan, and he's generally acknowledged to be the leading master of Northern Indian music. He told me once that the comprehension of music is in understanding one note. The meaning of that is he can sit for hours and hours working on this, but there really is only one note at a time. When he gets into that note and listens, he really listens, gets into the sound, and it simply doesn't matter that it takes a long time. We have to do this for many hours, because he's completely absorbed in listening to the sound of his sounding. Going with that vibration, as when you might chant, like they do in yoga. Keep that up, well. See, this is the real secret of life. To be completely engaged with what you're doing in the here and now. And instead of calling it work, realize that this is play. In Hindu philosophy, the whole creation is regarded as the Vishnu Leela. That means the play of Vishnu. Leela means dance or play, and from it we get our word live. They also, in Hindu philosophy, call the world an illusion. And in Latin, the root of the word illusion is ludere, to play. Because all this is going on, the swinging of the ball, the pattern in which the flower goes, swing. And if you take it seriously and say, are you doing anything useful? Useful for what? Useful to go on. But if you take that attitude to going on becomes...
obsolescence, which are nothing but toy rocket ships. And that we have harbors galore, filled with pleasure grounds.